Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Osami's 7 Key World Cup 2023, and we're back with one final match of round of 16, and it's going to be probably one of the most potential tiebreaker matches of all, probably on this round of 16, which is Spain versus Thailand. I'm your commentator Mifa, and I'll be joining with Sparky. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Excited to get this final match of the round of 16 underway. This is, as you said, one of probably the most potential for tiebreaker to occur. These two teams on paper very evenly matched despite whatever the seeding discrepancy might be. As you were saying, we got Spain on Team Red, we got Itor98, Moxie, Crew K Fanboy, and Not PX going up against Thailand, captained by Lost Cool, and then followed up by Ken's Natsurio and Sutina. Sorry, managed to make my way through it. Very excited to get this one underway.
Yeah, we should also mention that Spain is on seed 6 and on seed 11, which not might be the biggest seed difference like in an evenly matchup, but I feel like even in qualifier situation, it's probably not gonna say much given these teams have such a high caliber to play out for, I guess, for the rest of the match, really. Given that this pool has a slightly even more difficulty, I guess, in round of 16. Unlike the qualifiers, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely bringing it back down just a tiny bit compared to the qualifiers. Hopefully we have some very intense back and forths. I know we were having a conversation about what the potential bans and picks could be for these teams. It feels like there could be quite a bit of overlap, maybe some randomness to some of the picks. Historically, some of these teams maybe just showing up, playing what they like, as opposed to what they might be stronger in. And we can already see LN1 being removed from the pool, so that LN coordination not going to be an issue for either of these two teams to deal with.
Yeah, low star longer like this, you know, it's been historically like has the highest ban rate in, I guess, mostly in like last years as well. You don't see very much of the mostly longer these head sometimes. I guess this is no exception, except for the fact that Thailand's banning this, which I'm kind of surprised as well. But I also understand why they would not try to touch that in the slightest.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very risky pick overall, and the few times we have seen it get played, glider breaks or misses are very detrimental overall to the team score, just due to the fact that there isn't a lot of note density behind it. So getting back up over that 400 combo cap, especially like halfway through the run, is going to cost you thousands, if not tens of thousands of points, and you definitely need to trade back to try and recover from it. And it looks like the answer back is going to be Hybrid One being removed from the pool by Spain here.
They're removing Shinkai out of the equation, which I guess you don't want to play most of the longer picks. I guess Shinkai has the longest length of the, I guess, the non-tiebreaker pick.
Yeah, so complete opposite there. Maybe just not wanting to keep up the consistency for too long. And going into something a little less surprising, it's going to be Primitrix to start this match off. You imagine on the top half of the screen we have Itor98 going against Lost Coal, probably the two anchors for their respective countries, being backed up by the rest of their teammates as this match gets going.
Yeah, we're seeing Spain already being, I guess, the usual two players that usually plays for basically every pick. So Itor98 and also KK Fanboy. I guess in the nickname was Summit, I believe. But, or also a really strong player by themselves as well. Even they played in like a finals pool like the last year, so no surprising to see the leaks.
Yeah, for sure, a dynamic duo in and of themselves. It'll be interesting to see who Thailand brings up to the plate to back up Lost Cool on this pick. You'd imagine that this is going to be very contentious, probably going to come down to singular misses, or at best, maybe just ratio alone.
Yes, and we're waiting for a second player. I think we will probably be inviting Natsurio to the lobby, which Natsuya mainly regarded of the most physical rice for Thailand. Outside of like Kenzie being the most, I guess the OG player you would see. I guess the fan favorite for Thailand at least. And there we go. We have Natsuya in the lobby.
Yeah, so it looks like everything is squared away here. All 4 players in the lobby now. Just waiting for them to ready up so we can get into this first map of this best of 9. Of course, winner will be moving on to the quarterfinals in the winner's bracket. No real harm done to the loser, just going to drop down into that lower bracket and round out the rest of this quarterfinals bracket. Last match, all of the other matches have been decided outside of 2. And we'll get underway here.
Yeah, here we go. We'll see. I guess if you want to like comparing the difference between the 2 teams, Natsuya also played with like the Rice pick. Very naturally, very good at core streams, but in such a like the lower VPN core stream, which is like a 150 at the most. So it's kind of surprising to see that Natsuya is going to be playing in this, although it has a bit of a shaky start at the beginning, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I picked up a couple 200s on that opening burst, recovering very nicely, but lagging a little bit behind out of this introduction as things start to settle down. Everybody's starting to settle into this chord string pick. We have Aitor and Kruke Fanboy up in that 99.8 range. Lost Clone Natsuro not too far behind, about 2/10 behind them for now. All 4 players holding on to their full combos, but Spain ahead based on accuracy alone at the moment.
Yeah, about a 60% difference, I guess, if you want to call it, on the total alone, which, given the difference between the 2 players, are at least about like below 0.2%. And Nasir continuing to have some bit of an issue with 200 here and there, but no combo breaks just yet, but it soon will be starting to get apparent until you get to the endings.
Yeah, for sure, things start to calm down, just a little bit of chance for the players to take stock of the situation real quick. Back half of the map still to come, still plenty of opportunity for Thailand to make a comeback in this chart. But Spain is not making it easy, climbing in terms of accuracy. Kruke Fanboy about to climb back up into that 99.9 range, putting up an excellent performance so far, backed up by Aitor at the moment.
Yeah, Kruke Fanboy is doing pretty much shot shooting the entire chord. Every chord stream has been kind of perfected at least. Trying to hang on. Lost Cool is trying their best to keep up with the 99.7. He's increasing his accuracy, but not too much in the way that Spain is going to give that lead back up. In fact, the lead is actually kind of increasing.
Yeah, for sure. And there are a couple of 200s coming out from Natsurio. No major mistakes to speak of, but it is those tiny little drops that really start to add up at the end of the day. And by the looks of it here, Spain going to take this first point and make it 1-0 now.
10,000 points away from being 2 million, and Cricket Fanboy takes that up with a V1 double S. Aitor with the black flag too, with like basically similar ratio to Cricket Fanboy, although not to discredit. 6 200s and 14 200s are solid, but it's Spain's pick, so it's not really much to have a loss to it, and Tyler will have some time to pick.
Yeah, for sure. Can't get too down about that. An incredible performance from Lost Coal and Natsurio. Holding on to the double FCs, very hard to do on charts like that sometimes. And the fact that it is your opponent's pick, definitely can't get too down about that. As you were saying, an opportunity for them to set their own pace, see what they want to go for here in response.
I feel like given the picks from Thailand, they're banning Hana, which to me it just implies that Wake Me Up doesn't look like a good pick. Wake Me Up is very much into like one-headed bias element coordination, and this has something that Hana does. What for Angel's Ladder? We're going to Rise pick territory.
Yeah, no need for those LNs to make their appearance just yet. I think both these countries very comfortable, very adept at these rice charts. Maybe want to try and run it back a little bit on something a little bit stylistically different.
I think this is the only match that they have a actually pretty similar differences in terms of picks. Usually you see Rise and LS back and forth between opponents, but this is just you just run into that line flare basically.
Yeah, for sure. It's mono-stylistic. We will duke it out here and challenge you to out-ratio us on things that we feel comfortable on as you are. And once those are exhausted, we'll settle it between what's left. Always love to see that.
Yeah, especially that there's like 5 ice picks, and I think inevitably they're going to be running out as soon as the match finishes. They have to start picking high-res or LNs.
Yeah, unless there is a sweep. We'll definitely need to see either an LN or a hybrid chart come out here sometime soon. Aitor pulling out the mirror here for this Angel's Ladders pick, Thailand's first pick. Let's see how they do.
Yeah, starting with 100. Oh, yeah, well, I mean, the very first 15 notes with 100, but basically trying to flex that. Not the most exciting thing to see about the intro, although I feel like it's not too much of a difference just yet.
Yeah, if anything, this is probably a much more level introduction between these two countries compared to Rice 2 from earlier. Aitor and Crew Cave building up their accuracy up to that 99.7 range and beyond. But Thailand's in there with a shout right now going into the second third of the map. 99.5s for them on average. But Natsurio finding the break on the transition into the back half of the map, and that's going to help extend this lead for Spain now.
Yeah, that's a unfortunate drop it right just before we get to the, I guess, the pseudo screen section of this break there. But I mean, the accuracy difference is actually pretty wildly variant. Like 99.8 average of Spain, still up until the last third.
Yeah, we were speaking before this match started about how close this could potentially be, but for right now, it seems like Spain is really exceeding all expectations that we had and really pulling away now. Very comfortable on these Rice charts so far and climbing in terms of accuracy. Sure, a couple of 200s coming out from Crew K Fanboy on that last burst, going to drop them down to that 99.6 range, but still ahead of either of these Thai players for now.
That is to get intensified at the ending too. I don't feel like Spain is going to drop at any point, which it just does seem to me this is a very clear breakpoint too for Spain.
Yeah, one final drop from Natsurio going to seal the deal there, and Spain going to move up 2-0, taking the first breakpoint in this match.
These are Arsenal scores are actually insane. 3 200s, 6 200s, 11 200s. Natsurio actually getting basically less 200s than Crooked Fanboy, but unfortunately picking up 2 misses, which it actually just makes it even bigger of a difference.
Yeah, for sure, but still a very good score overall. Very hard to maintain combo and stuff like that. But with that being said, Spain, an opportunity to capitalize on that breakpoint. You'd imagine don't really need to change course here. You can probably still stick with the Rice pool.
Yeah, busy come, busy go would be their next pick. It's the same thing as like Angel's Ladder, except it's just, yeah, there you go. Busy come, busy go is the next pick.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Everything going according to plan for Spain. Don't need to change things up just yet. And now you basically have pick of the litter. I think the only pick that might be contentious out of the Rice pool might be that Korjak pick in Rain, but I mean, just based on the ratio difference between these two teams, you'd imagine Spain has the advantage there unless they find like a number of 200s by mistake here. So busy come, busy go, going to be the pick here.
Well, I think in this case, Rain would be probably. It's like I said when we discussed this before the game starts. It's just you just run into the chicken game situation, whether if you want to risk to play out ag, but then at the same time you just don't want to know your Korjak accuracy at the same time as Moscow Natsurio is definitely really comfortable with it too.
Yeah, I think that might be like the last option for either of these two countries. You'd imagine with the way things have been going so far, and depending on how this one goes, Thailand might actually want to opt for that one if they really just do not want to play those LN hybrid charts. Because so far Spain has had their number through these first two maps.
Yeah, well, I mean, it should be, given that I guess their session has been doing really good so far. With Pyramid Tricks and Angel's Ladder coming out on top with superior accuracies overall. I think it beats out even the two Thailand players. Still with the mirror from iTour too, but at the probably don't want to waste the mind box on it too, even with practice sessions.
Yeah, and as we get this map underway, bit of a shaky start from Natsurio, down into that low 99% range, but still plenty of time for them to recover. Not a long chart by any stretch of the imagination, but if you want to find those accuracy drops, best get them out of the way early so that you can get on that road to recovery very quickly. And it's, stop me if you've heard this one before, Spain ahead on just pure accuracy alone, but Lost Cool actually being up there to contest might be able to keep this lead in check now.
Yeah, the swing patterns might actually would be the open gate here for Thailand, but at the same time, Spain is also increasing his accuracy. They're actually pretty rapidly, although they picked up a couple of 200s for both of these players. Natsurio pick up a lot more 200s, so it would be evened out.
Yeah, timing some of these swing rhythms can be pretty contentious. You see Natsurio hitting pretty early, trying to make sure that they stay ahead of the beat at the cost of their accuracy and at the cost of this lead for Spain that has been growing so far. Going to the back half of the chart now, both players averaging in at 99.7 range. Lost Cool now up to compete, and Kruke Fanboy actually finding first break.
Yeah, that would be the first miss that Spain has got for these two maps, but Natsurio trading that out, basically actually extending that lead to Spain given the accuracy is actually quite low. Another 1-2.
Yeah, so no harm, no foul at the end of the day for Spain here. Getting that trade and an extra one in return, gonna help cushion the lead just a little bit more. Another drop from Natsurio. Really hasn't had the best of time on this chart. To be expected, this is a very awkward chart, and as it comes to an end, it is going to be Spain capitalizing on that break point and making it 3-0 now.
Yeah, with clearly the difference between this Stewie making 3 misses as 2 with Cricket Fanboy having a little bit of slip up. But regardless, I mean, the ending of this chart is, I guess, pretty nasty to say the least, and having a break on that is pretty much the death sentence.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, they kept it pretty close for a decent amount of time going into that back half. It was just that transition that really started the domino effect for Thailand there, and basically almost guaranteed the point for Spain at the end of the day. But it is going to be their next pick, an opportunity to try and right the ship here. You wonder if they're going to change course, maybe dive into the LN hybrid pool, or if they're going to stick to their guns. And it's going to be Rain.
Oh boy, you're still sticking with the Rise picks here. So Spain has to pick Anemone just to complete the category.
Yeah, you imagine that's probably going to be the next pick, regardless of what happens here. But I was saying this before the last map started, that this might actually be one of the closer ones. This Korjak style pick really is just a bit of a consistency test at the end of the day. I think you referred to it nicely as a bit of a chicken game, a bit of game of cat and mouse. Who blinks first? Who drops that first 200? Or who finds that rush of 300s to really swing the tide of this map?
It's just, well, chords, really. I mean, in the truest sense of the word, I guess the BPM is slow enough to make, at the very least, not to rush 300 here every now and then. But again, it's a chord. It's just chord back. It's just how it is.
Yeah, same could be said for like the 4-key variant of Korjak. It's either you can play it or you can't. Very black and white skill set, and it looks like we're still not gonna have any substitutions. So 4 anchors on screen here. iTour and Kruke going against Lost Cool and Natsurio against all 4 of these Rise charts so far.
The thing is, can they actually outact themselves? Just to make sure that you have a slight relief if Thailand can win this.
Yeah, you'd imagine we're gonna see a lot of 99.9s for a majority of this chart. Players of this caliber very comfortable on rice style like this.
Aitor might have hitting it slightly early, so the 300s caught that out, but Nasuria's trying to pick up Aitor's accuracy, but there's a 200 over there.
Yeah, now we're gonna have a bit of a cross-map battle developing. Second quarter of the map, upcoming Crew K Fanboy up against Lost Cool right now, trying to keep each other in check. And right now it's the difference between Aitor and Natsurio for the moment. About a 10th behind on the side of Thailand. This is the most slender lead that Spain has had so far this match. See if they can hold on to it here.
Yeah, Aitor needs to figure it out because Aitor seems to be hitting ever so slightly early, so that would just cost them that lead. Even though Crew K Fanboy and Lost Cool is trying to have as much as possible, 99.95 plus, and Natsurio is trying to pick that back up.
Yeah, for sure. I think Crew K Fanboy and Lost Cool cannot afford to drop any bit of accuracy here because they're the two holding it up for their respective countries at the moment as Aitor and Natsurio battle it out on opposite sides of the screen here. Last quarter of the map still to come. It is still Aitor ahead of Natsurio by about 0.06% right now. Anything can change. Any singular 200 could impact this greatly here.
Still bits of flicker, but even though with this bits of flicker, he needs to have an absolute massive tank, and Aitor seems to have figured it out, but not to hit too early, and he's trying to stabilize the accuracy, but Natsurio also stabilized accuracy, but not too much. Moscow and Crew K Fanboy will stay unchanged for the rest of the map.
Yeah, coming down to the wire here, anything can still change, but it is not going to be. And Spain pick up a match point situation on the cusp of a 5-0 sweep here. Oh my goodness, these scores are ridiculous.
51 and 63, just 300 difference. Aitor, not too bad of a score, but it might have the early hits might have get it to it, so the score might be not as high as you would expect it to be. Natsurio picking 200s might have been at the beginning of I guess the early of the combo, but regardless, that would not mattered too much because the ratio is slightly different for Natsurio as well.
Yeah, for sure, and I mean you can see the results of that chart. When you know that everybody in the lobby can play it, you start to hyper focus on the accuracy. Crew K Fanboy saying that they're shaking. That was a massive personal best for them. You love to see it happen in match.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, one of them always happened, and it was a massive personal best.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely don't want to be the one to find either a singular miss or that rush of 200s that could cost a point. And with how close that one was, definitely came to fruition there. Now Spain, opportunity to close things out, and unsurprisingly, we are not playing LN, we are not playing hybrid by our own volition. It is going to be Anemone coming out here, rounding out the rice pool.
At this point, we're just not to guess, because that would be like the last rice thing that Spain curves no hesitancy.
Yeah, so it's up to Thailand here to take this breakpoint. Gonna need to force a tiebreaker here, try and reverse sweep their way through to make it into the winners quarterfinals.
Yeah, but this is a bit of a difference. It's a speed, which he would be absolutely sure that you're gonna slip up at one point, even though the spins are comfortable by itself. But it just depends on who is slip up first, and this would be a kind of a volatile pick at the very least. And Spain, even though they're pretty comfortable with it, you're just running into that risk of missing.
Yeah, for sure. I think confidence should not turn into overconfidence when it comes to styles that you are used to. There's still very much a possibility of finding a break where you least expect it, especially coming off of a pick like Rain, where you were hyper focusing on trying to keep the ratio in check. Sometimes when you start to push a little too hard is when you start to overthink things, and then the mistakes start to come out. So see if Thailand can capitalize on any of that happening on the side of Spain, or if Spain can keep their cool and try and close this out as soon as humanly possible.
Closing this out is the only Rice picks of the entire round of 16, and this would be the only match that do so. But if Thailand breaks this one, that would be interesting because you don't have any Rice picks left.
Yeah, venturing into uncharted territory if Thailand does manage to pull it out here. And this is pretty, I was about to say, a pretty hot start for all four players. Natsurio dropping on those staircase rolls, transitioning into the second half of this first quarter. And that's going to hand Spain a pretty decent cushion to work with right out of the gate here.
Just the slip up at I guess, before the 400, so it's not as severe you would expect it to be. So there's still some time to recover, so it's not the end of the world just yet.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely still room to recover, and Spain not really pulling away as hard as they have in other maps. And Kruger Fanboy gonna find the drop on the transition into the speed roll traded by Natsurio, and Lost Goal finding the drop as well. A full team reset on the side of Thailand as we make our way into the back half of the map. Natsurio missing once again, and this lead is quickly spiraling out of control for Spain going into the last third here. So now it is Aitor, the sole FC left in the lobby, pulling it through right now for Spain, keeping this lead out of reach for Thailand as it stands. Last quarter of the map still to go. Thailand definitely not out of the woods yet, but gonna need some help from the side of Spain to try and hand this point back. Oh, and Aitor finds a drop. Last eighth of the map left to go, but Natsurio trades it back. It has been these trades that have been costing Thailand these points at these pivotal situations, not able to capitalize when given an opportunity, and it is going to be Spain closing it out, making it 5-0. A full Rice sweep here.
Spain here for having the upper edge of this match too, with the Rice only picks in this match.
Yeah, unprecedented here. Usually you see somebody dive into that lower half of the map pool or vice versa, but not to be here. Spain pulling it out. 5 Rice picks up, 5 Rice picks down, and pulling out the victory. And with that, that will conclude the round of 16 weekend. We are officially done. All 8 matches have been played. Your winners bracket's decided, and your losers bracket is set up and ready to go.
Absolutely. So we do see that I guess in the round of 16 where we have a total of, I guess, 6 clean sweeps as well, and the only 2 matches are not a sweep, and one of them even go to a tiebreaker, which is very impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people on paper were probably seeing, oh, okay, the top seeds are probably just gonna roll their way through. Not to be. We did have a singular upset, Japan taking down Indonesia in tiebreaker, and Canada giving Brazil a bit of a run for their money. But with that being said, all that's left to do this weekend is give you guys that quarterfinal showcase. I believe that will be taking place at the top of the hour, so definitely don't want to miss that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even quarterfinal map showcase is gonna be a tough one, I guess, for, I guess you would say, the losers bracket, having the hard time to set up in the quarterfinals map practice. Although it would be the same case as the winners bracket. We have South Korea versus Brazil, which could be an interesting one, and China versus the United States as well. It would be a very interesting, just a Rise and Ellen only picks, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, some exciting matchups to look forward to next weekend. think we're going to take some time to prepare for the showcase coming up. But one last order of business. If you like what you have been seeing so far during this World Cup and you feel a little bit generous, we do have the Open Collective, an initiative that we started last year to help expand the prize pool for the players. Definitely enjoy donating to ensure that we can deliver some of the highest quality action for the World Cups as possible. And soon, gonna give a little bit of a preview, got banners coming up, so definitely look forward to hearing us talk about those banners. Support your countries. I believe starting next week we'll have those available in the store. And Mifa, do you have anything else left to say before we close things out here?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the teams are still not eliminated for, round of 16. They still have a losers bracket to play for, and I guess we just don't go anywhere just yet, because the quarterfinals after the showcase will be, I guess, starting a bit after we have a switch up in before we prepare for the showcase itself. And I guess there's nothing much else left to say.
Yep, so we'll catch you guys in just a little bit.
Yeah, see you, and we're signing off.